Hi, everyone. Tonight I wanted to talk about the media. Now, I remember a while ago, maybe about a year or so ago, near the beginning of the pipeline situation in North Dakota. That's when I started seeing some Facebook posts and articles talking about the protests, the Native American protests going on, and saying how the media isn't covering it. Um, and there were some other incidents that were going on, especially around the world. And they were said, and everyone had it in common. The media is ignoring it. The media isn't covering it. But even doing the most cursory of searches on Google showed plenty of coverage about it from both mainstream and pop media. There was plenty of coverage about it. So it made me start to wonder, what exactly do people mean when they say the media? Now, I think it means different things to different people, and it's one of those cases where we want to have a conversation about something, but the terms we're using are being used so differently that when I say the media, it doesn't mean the same thing to you. So we're not even talking about the same things, and that makes communication and conversation impossible. The other awkward part about the media is both sides, the left and right, feel like the media is biased against them. The left feels like the media is biased to the right, and vice versa. They can't both be right. The media can't both be biased to the left and biased to the right. Um, and it leads to more of the divisiveness that we were talking about. How the right feels that the left is causing the problems, and so on. And I personally think the media is too huge to lean any one way. And you can see this just by looking at a breakdown of sites that tend liberal or tend conservative. There's no way you're going to get them both to agree on something. And we're seeing it, especially now that there's so many gag orders given to government agencies, where we even have the National Park Service, who has gone rogue and started posting on a non-government controlled Twitter feed, broadcasting the information they want. Um, so, as much as the media as a whole is trying to be stifled, and if you look at the gag orders that are around, and the silence orders, and if you look at the differences between the press briefings now as opposed to the press briefings in Obama's last administration with Josh Earnest, yes, it's a different field, but a lot of stuff is still getting reported. A lot of stuff is out there. It just you need to look for it. Um, I think when people say the media, it means the media that's immediately presented to them, what they see on broadcast news, what they see on the sites that are presented to them. But the media is massive, especially now where somebody with Periscope on their cell phone, or with a YouTube live stream, can be their own journalist. The problem with this, though, is it does lead to a lack of journalistic integrity, because anybody who has a if anybody who has a cell phone can go ahead and broadcast whatever news that they want, are they doing it with the intention of leaving as much bias out of it um, as possible, or with the journalistic integrity of getting as much information as they can? I don't know. Um, but when it comes to something as broad as the media, I don't think you can use one word to describe all media sources. I just think it's too huge for that. Same thing, I suppose, could be said when you talk about society. When society tells us that marriage is supposed to be between one man and one woman only, I think society is too huge at this point. That if we do talk about what society wants, we're only talking about a small group of, even if they're the there's tens of millions of them, it's still only a small subset of what society accepts. Now, if we're talking about society more in the sense of a smaller community, then maybe we need to come up with a different word for it. Just in the name of making sure we're talking about the right things. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people where I use a word or phrase in such a different way, um, that it halts conversation right there, because we're like, wait, what do you mean by the media isn't covering this? Look, there's plenty of news articles about it. There's plenty of information that I can find about it. It even has its own Wikipedia page. So it's not like it's not being covered. So what exactly do you mean when you say the media isn't covering it? And maybe the whole point about this particular video is that we talk about things in so many different ways than other people, that in order to even have the conversations, we have to make sure that we have the same definitions in mind for this. And this goes in with the video that I posted a few days ago about fake news. What kind of news do you think is fake? What makes news real to you? At what point is someone um, uh, just not knowing any of the information and the facts, and they're just talking spontaneously just to give information? And at what point are they actually being deceptive? What's the difference between alternative facts and truly lying or deceiving? Everybody's answer to that is going to be different, but unless the person you're having that conversation with and you can agree on what those terms are, then it's possible that the conversation is not going to get anywhere, and that is probably why there's so much frustration. So I challenge you, next time you do find someone to talk to and they say something like the media isn't covering this or society says that we should do this, ask them what that actually means and come up with more of a baseline of conversation. Um, Once again, I look forward to hearing anything that anybody has to say. Leave me a comment here or go to my Facebook and leave a comment there. And let's keep this going, and let's come up with a list of these terms that we use without really understanding what the other person means when they say it. So until tomorrow, have a good night.